Whether you're a lifelong keeper or just getting started, encourage responsible conservation, and public education, keeping our reptiles safe and healthy as future generations. You're invited to spend time with us as we experience these awesome animals together on Intrepid Exotics.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Finally got in the last minute and got everything set up. Almost everything set up. We're getting close. Again, another incredibly busy week. It's good to see everybody. I almost like all you guys because I got up again on a Saturday and put pants on for this. So hope everybody had a good week. Oh, man, who do we have? We got Laura. And, you know, I don't know if this is actually your first name. Is it Jadora? Might have to put a phonetic spelling on there for me so that I know exactly what to call you. Oh, Laura's here. My mom is hanging out from Florida. Christina put out a video today on the event that we did. A really brief one. It was really cool. I like that. And I am still working on getting everything put together. I decided to take half a day off today before I started the rest of the weekend here. And you can kind of see him back there. Charlie's hanging out. He might come up here and face the camera and say hi in a little bit. Let's see. Ruben, that's a new name. How you doing? Welcome to the party, if you want to call it that. It's just a lot of me sitting here bumping my gums, talking snake stuff. Nicole is here. Greg is here. Hello from Utah. Jim, hope you're doing okay tonight. Hey, John is here. Hey, I am going to use some of John's stuff here tonight. If you guys aren't familiar with him, Tipping Scales, he is another YouTuber. He does some really, really good stuff, more documentary type stuff that's really good. And I know you guys seen the topic tonight, talking some about the situation with the FWC yet again, killing animals and so forth. There's a situation. I'm going to tell you guys about it. There's a couple different angles that we're looking at it from. So we're just going to go into a little bit of detail on that stuff tonight. They've been doing better. But they had a hiccup here a couple months ago that we need to address, because if you don't, one hiccup is going to turn into two, which is going to turn into them going back into the same thing that they used to do. So let's see. Echo's gone. Okay, good. Let's see. Fago, how you doing, sir? Yep, I do have a good headrest back there. And he's so chill. I was sitting here earlier getting things kind of set up, and it was really cool. He just had his head resting on my shoulder, but we had to get up. I had to go get coffee. I had to go get the backup coffee. I got the big backup coffee thermos cup right there. That's going to keep me going as long as I need to for a while. And then when we came back, this is kind of how he situated himself. So it has, man. I am really definitely looking forward to this short week next week. I'm going to be able to get a lot of stuff done too. That's why I'm not really pushing myself this week. We're expected to have rain Monday night, all of Tuesday, and the Wednesday morning. And of course, when it rains, my crews don't work. And when my crews don't work, I don't work. So I may get lucky and only be working like Monday and Wednesday this coming week. So if that's the case, then it's going to give me a lot of time to catch up on some filming that I've been wanting to do, some stuff with some other animals. So I do still want to spend some time tomorrow and see if it's possible to get all the stuff from the event put out. I know a lot of folks have been really chomping at the bit to see that video from the museum event that we did. And I'm really looking forward to getting everything put out there for you guys. So, yeah, I know. That's That's a big deal, man. If I put pants on for something, it's important. That just doesn't happen for just anything. Hey, Ruth, how you doing? Oh, yeah, man, you like this? And I'll tell you what, this is the only mug that I've ever gotten that I wasn't disappointed with when it arrived. This thing is hefty. You could knock out a bowl with it. The little cup here on the inside, it comes out so you don't have to keep destroying the thing when you wash it and stuff like that. And it even rattles. This is the most overpriced thing in the world, but it was great. It was well worth it. Joe is in. Yep. So far, it's been a good weekend. Let's see who else. Oh yeah, holidays. See, that's the cool thing about here. I've got really two family members that live out of state that we really. Here we go. Yeah, gotta love the freaking internet service out here. I called in the other day and they said that there was no problems with the service. Everything was running right. And then my equipment was a little bit old and there's an updated thing. So I guess I need to make that a priority. Getting out and getting my getting my equipment updated, if that is indeed the problem. Let's see how much of this stuff I missed. Yeah, but if it happens again, it typically takes me a couple times of running through the troubleshooter and it picks right back up. And of course, I jump right back in. So let's see where we at. Are we at? All right. See, we got one fan right here that knows John's channel. Yeah, John's a pretty good guy. I keep trying to get him on here, but he can't quit working. So he's typically listening at work. So let's see. Yep. Exactly that. Let's see. What Florida do this time? We'll get to that in a minute. As soon as I get caught up on all of the as soon as I get caught up on all the chats and stuff. Katie is here. How you doing? Dun, dun, dun. Sam is here. What else we got? Lorraine made it. I froze. Let's see. Let's go down. I think we're just about caught up. I really don't like to just cruise through these things and ignore people. That's kind of the whole point of the show, is having the conversation with folks. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me while I work on my speed reading skills here. What we got here is going to say, yeah, the officer on this one. Not entirely sure which one you're talking about, but we'll get into that in just a second. Let me see. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. Actually, I'm going to have to drop out of this one. Okay. Let's see now. There we go. So yeah, for those of you guys that don't know John, this is his page, Tipping Scales. I know a lot of the folks that keep up with me, keep up with him as well. So the kind of the backstory on this, and before I go into it too much, I've spoken with Daniel from Talk Florida. Typically, before I put anything out, I call him first just so that I can make sure that we're all on the same page, and I'm not putting out something that's detrimental to what they're trying to accomplish down there. As a lot of you guys may know, when the Holy Thursday Massacre event happened down there where FWC went in and killed all those snakes, I put out 3 or 4 videos on that. The first one, I think, got like 80,000 views. And anytime you punched up search for Florida FWC on YouTube, Intrepid was the first channel that came up. So if anybody was looking for FWC content, the first thing they seen was my video going out there talking about that. So it does have an impact when we put stuff like that out. And I don't want to jump the gun or be unfair to a situation that is getting somewhat better down there. So we here the last couple months ago, there was a monitor lizard that was found. A neighbor had called, said that they'd found it. Obviously not indigenous to the area. It was obviously an escaped pet. And the new director of FWC down there came in from law enforcement, and he's been doing a really good job of working with the community. He's been going to reptile shows. He's been meeting breeders. He put out a verbal moratorium on killing anything except in exigent circumstances where there may be an animal hit by a car and dying, or a humane euthanasia situation like that. And it kind of he pledged and like I said, gave the verbal order that they weren't going to kill anything else. Well, as you can see, this lady right here, Melissa Tucker's her name. My understanding is that she, kind of had seen the team dispatched to take care of this. She's the one that let everybody know that they had went out, captured it, and killed it on site, I think it was. So there's a lot of people up in arms about that. I'm going to go ahead and put up kind of the section where it shows that monitor. And so you guys can kind of see. I know he's got a section of it in here somewhere. There it is. But that's the monitor lizard. They initially thought it was a black throat monitor. It turned out to be a white throat monitor. And it's one that they ended up going out to kill. So the thing that makes it really almost spiteful with stuff like this with FWC is everybody at USARK, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other keepers and breeders down there that have told them in all of these meetings if you guys run up against something that you need taken care of, you need removed from the state, you need it, captured, collected, whatever the case may be, just call, call US ARC, and they will, US ARC Florida, for those of you watching, there is a distinct difference between US ARC and US ARC Florida. So the US ARC Florida, whose link you will find in all of my videos. And if you don't find it in one, drop in the comments and let me know that I forgot to put it there, and I'll get it there. But what you doing, boy? But you can call them, and if you're in Florida, arrangements will be made to get an animal that's loose like that, so that it doesn't have to be killed. That's somebody's pet, and you can. Charlie's just wrapped around the other chair now. I'm gonna have to get up in a second and grab him so he doesn't go get in trouble pulling stuff down. But it's just like somebody's dog. You see a sign posted that somebody has lost a dog, and you're not gonna find it and shoot it on the spot. If it's not hurting nobody. Let me get that snake. Where you going, goofball? Come on, buddy. Ah, God. He is not a really big snake. But God, these guys are pound for pound. I swear boas are the strongest animals on the planet. Come on, bud. Work with me. Let me push this chair away so he's less likely to try and get involved in it. But anyway, there you go. Come on back around, buddy. Hang out like a big boy. There you go. Look at him hanging out back on my shoulder where I can keep an eye on it. So anyway, John does a really good job of going into detail about that. When I talked with Daniel, one of the things that I asked him about was, are you guys generating any mail, or is there any action that the community's taking right now? And there's really not a whole lot specifically that's being done on the community level. The reason why is that, like I said, the relationship with Florida FWC is getting better. That new director is starting to work with the community the way we need him to. They got a lot of terrible attention over the killing of that boa and those other snakes that were out there. So they're really making a concerted effort to work with us. And as with anything else, it's a huge organization with a lot of people that are still stuck in their mindset that they can just go out and slaughter anything that they want to. So my understanding is that, the new director's aware of it. He's addressing it. He admitted that, okay, maybe it required more than a verbal moratorium. So apparently he's working on getting a directive written into policy. So that way they can control that and make it more clear to their subordinates spread out throughout the state, so that stuff doesn't happen again. So it's one of those things where, yes, they screwed up again, and of course it wasn't to the scale that the Holy Thursday Massacre was. And yeah, we should be paying attention to it. Yeah, we should be letting them know. But we also want to be really careful not to spoil the positive relationship that's gotten built down there over the course of the last few months. Because like I said, when things like this happen, they are working with US ARC Florida and the keepers and everything down there. So, like I said, John does a really good job of illustrating what they did wrong. And he goes into another issue out there, which is really, really sad. And I'd seen I'd seen a similar case like this happen up here in North Carolina too, on a bigger scale. But apparently this fella had a rescued deer that he had raised up and let it run free in the woods in his backyard. It frequented his house. He fed it. It was a tame deer. And it would come up and play with you and stuff like that. Well, it came up to play with one of the neighbors, knocked him down, skinned his knee or something like that. One of the other neighbors called to have it put down. So, you know, and you can see it in John's video where they, you know, this happy tame deer walks up to him and sticks his head in the noose for him so they can tie it to a tree, slice its neck, and then sit there and watch it die for 30 minutes because they were under orders to salvage the brain to study it, looking for some kind of disease that there was no symptoms of because it was a tame animal. That of course, you know, it's outside of the reptile community, but it's still animals. You know, it's still in the wheelhouse of a lot of us. You know, I've got more pets here than just reptiles. What are you doing? I can just kind of see Charlie over here popping his head up every now and then. So, you know, it's something that really impacts all of us. When these guys start doing underhanded things like that, when I first moved to North Carolina, the person I was dating, a friend of hers, had a whole herd of deer. Had a lot of albino deer out there, and one of them had a fawn, and that one birth put them over the limit for what he was allowed to have by his permit. So some hateful neighbor called on him, and they came out and slaughtered his entire herd because of that one birth that put him over. So, yeah, some of these people can really go off the deep end with this stuff, and we do got to keep them in check. If not, they'll run all over us. Thank you so much. And I still haven't worked up my little dancing gecko, and I'm not good at dance because then everybody will log off. But thank you, Christina. Yeah, we're still working on that. You know, there's always like a month delay on all of this stuff, the ad revenue and all that. So everything that happens, just it's a month offset, and then it goes into a little virtual piggy bank so that we can reinvest all of that stuff into the channel. So, yeah, we haven't heard of Chris Coffee was his name. Haven't heard a whole lot about him. I do need to follow up at some point. Maybe next time I talk to Daniel, I'll ask him if he knows anything about that. Southern Girl, how you doing? No, just a quick catch up. They had one monitor lizard that they sent somebody out to kill a couple months ago, so we've been addressing that, and I've been putting up the video that John from Tipping Scales put out about it, so that anybody that wants to get up to speed. He did such a good video about it. I mean, there's really no point in me putting stuff out because he's got everything right there. So I'll just direct you over to his channel. So and he needs some more exposure too, because he's a pretty good guy. Let's see. Yeah. See, and one of the catch-22s about this is Florida FWC has a hotline, and the name of it escapes me right now. I think it's like 1-800-GOT-ONE or some crap like that. But essentially what it is it's theoretically the line that you're supposed to call. Come on now. Get in there. But it's the hotline that you're supposed to call for amnesty if you've got animals that you need to surrender, or if there's somebody that needs help collecting one, maybe an invasive that you've seen out in the woods or something like that. Well, it's also the same number that they send to law enforcement to destroy problem animals. So as you can see, it's pretty easy for there to be some confusion around that. which is why when I was talking with Daniel, I asked him very directly, are you guys set up to handle a call volume for me to be telling people, okay, divert those calls instead of calling FWC, divert them to USARK Florida so that they can work on getting these animals and saving them and keeping them from getting destroyed on site. And he absolutely said yes. I asked him if there was any legal ramifications to doing that, and he said that there's always people around that they're working with that are permitted to deal with any species of animal that they're going to run into down there. So if you guys are watching this in Florida and you're familiar with the hotline to the FWC to work on capturing or the amnesty program or anything like that, I would toss that number away, get a hold of USARK Florida, Daniel or someone out there. We'll definitely be more than happy to help facilitate finding that animal and getting it a home, getting it out of there, getting it removed from the state if they need to, things like that. So, and like I said, I asked him specifically about all that stuff before I came on earlier in the week. And he may still come on. I haven't bothered him too much. I know those guys are busy. I know what it's like. He said he was more than happy to come on and talk to you guys himself, but I'm not going to hound him too much. They've got the YouTube channel that I've got linked. I should have linked in the description too. Bosa, what is good, my friend? If you guys see my snake starting to go for my coffee or something and I ain't paying attention, let me know. Oh, yeah, Charlie's a good boy. So they're doing because we want to take us the snakes, but it doesn't mean exactly. I mean, we all understand more so than they do in most cases that invasive species are a problem and they've got to be regulated, they got to be controlled. There's not too many reptile keepers that can honestly say that, like the python hunts. I mean, an invasive overpopulated species out there, even if it's a little bit overstated, some of those things we've just got to accept harsh realities sometimes. But if you're talking about something that's obviously an escaped pet that you've captured, that there's no invasive population, and things like that, there's no reason why we can't just capture them animals, put a news alert out saying, hey, we found this. Did anybody lose it? You may have some people come up and say, hey, man, that was mine. He just got away. Maybe retrain them on housing and things like that. But there's just so many other ways to do it. We talk about this too when you go into invasive species and stuff like that, and species that are destroying the environment and blah blah blah. I mean, we all know the species that destroys more environment than anything is human beings. And these animals, I go into this sometimes with people that talk about the evils of keeping reptiles in captivity. Is there's more likely than not going to come a day, there already has in some cases, where captive breeding is going to keep these animals from going extinct because people are just wiping them off the face of the earth. So we definitely need to find better ways of controlling situations like an escaped pet than just putting them down, So, where are you at? You hide everybody finally? You just hide. I always end up looking the wrong direction first. The video's all backwards. So, John was asking if I had happened to watch the October commission meeting. I did not. And don't worry about it. Interrupting my flow. I'll catch up with whatever comes up as I read down the comments here. So, Let's see. We got. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, and Nicole hit the nail on the head. You're essentially punishing the animals for a mistake that the owner made, and there's no reason to do that. There's absolutely no reason. They did, they had it captured. That animal can maintain in a warm room for a couple days, while they look for a new home for it, while they call somebody. So it's really uncalled for. Let's see. John says getting better on a commissioner level 2, or several agreed that they should set something up to allow Daniel and trust. Yeah, that's what Daniel said too, John. When I was talking with him, he said that there was even commission members, board members, whatnot, that had brought that up, saying, "Hey, haven't there been U.S. ARC people or keepers who have volunteered to come out and help us with this stuff? Why aren't we utilizing them? Why are we still offing these animals on site because we don't know what to do with them?" So yeah, I've heard that, and like I said, that's why. Oh, you're welcome back, you. But like I said, that's why I didn't want to go on and just make a video slamming FWC, because there's intentional evil shit like they did on Chris Coffey's stuff, and then there's mistakes. And I really honestly think this was a mistake. Not that it was unintentional, but it's not indicative of a systemic issue, really, because the system is trying to fix itself. They're trying to correct course so that their goals and their activities are more parallel to the keepers, and more responsible, I guess, as far as the animals go. So that's why I didn't really want to go in and rip them apart. If there's a couple people out there, they're just in the habit of killing anything that they see. Those people, yeah, they deserve anything that they get, because yeah. Hey Derek, how you doing? Yeah, I was just talking about that a minute ago with them killing that pet deer. The video of that makes me sad, man. Every time I see that video of the deer and how that animal is just so engaged with the people, and enjoying the interaction. They're thinking it's a big game. Oh, here's a collar for me to jump into. Just not my thing. Not my thing at all. So, yeah. John's saying nothing's been set in motion yet, but yeah, I think they do. I really think that the heat they took over that slaughter of all those snakes down there, and the method that they used to do it, I think it got enough attention to where it did course correct what they've been doing permanently. As bad as that situation was, I was saying as soon as it happened, this is a really terrible thing that they've done, but there's going to be a lot of good impacts come out of it. And we're starting to reap some of those better impacts today, since they've really realized how much passion and how many educated people there are, that are keeping an eye on what they're doing. It's not just some reptile breeder out there who's protecting their livelihood by shaking their fist. You got PhD level biologists and ecologists and everybody else that's saying, okay, you guys are wrong, and this is what we need to do to fix it. So it's really good to see. Think much CWD. Not think much. Oh, not sure what you mean by CWD. I'm sure you'll clarify, and I'll catch that in in the comments as I go. Is there an error in here that I missed? Try not to miss anybody. Yeah. It really seems, like I said, everything that Daniel said, it's been some pretty positive interactions with them down there. Yeah, I haven't been bitten by my ferrets outside of playing before when they were alive, but I have gotten torn up by my prairie dog. I don't know if you can even really see it anymore. Probably can't see it on the camera to begin with. Isn't that? No, can't see it anymore. But yeah, she took a big old bite out of my arm like a week or two ago. And it was crazy. I had her up, I'm petting her, and she's just as content as can be. I put her back down. As soon as she rolls over my arm, she digs both her claws in right here, and then both her teeth in right here, and flips over and just hangs on there for about 30 seconds. And it hurt. But on a positive note, and this might be one of the reasons why she did it, apparently, I didn't see it, but apparently they were observed demonstrating some breeding behavior earlier. So keep your fingers crossed. Maybe we'll have a litter of prairie dogs. So, and if she's going to give us a litter, she can bite me just as much as she wants to. Let's see. Don't speak too soon because I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. I saw some YouTube posting today about Florida FWC shooting and killing some hopeless woman's dog. I saw that Donnie put that out. Donnie from Nerd. And I didn't watch the whole thing. I should. I just don't tend to watch a lot of the stuff that Donnie puts out. I prefer to watch the educational stuff that Kevin does, but I kind of glance over a lot of the stuff that Donnie puts out on his own. But I should probably watch that video because, if that's another instance of Florida FWC, and maybe that's something else that we need to be talking about. I don't know what state it was from, but I did see something about a homeless woman getting her dog shot. And somebody was asking too, and I can't remember which video it was on. They didn't think that FWC folks had arrest powers and things like that. In many cases, FWC, Department of the Interior, the Department of Fish and Wildlife, things like that, a lot of times those officers have more jurisdiction and authority than the police do. I don't want to go into details because I don't know specifically, what area, what region, what department has what specific rights, but I do know that in a lot of cases they've got more authority than local police. As far as confiscating things, it's my understanding that some jurisdictions with FWCs or Department of Fish and Wildlife, they see you engaging in an illegal activity, they can go ahead and confiscate all your equipment right there on the site and arrest you. So something to be taken into consideration. Let's see. Yeah, and that's what we was just talking about. Yeah, I know. Somebody was saying up here, yeah, he's got a friend that's a friend with Coffee. I think Chris Coffee, I think everybody pretty much tried to leave him alone after that and just kind of let him process and have his privacy through that whole thing, because it's bad enough having something like that happen and then having to deal with a whole bunch of strangers wanting to come in and talk to you and things like that. I know if something like that happened to me, I'd be like, okay, guys, I really appreciate the thoughts. I appreciate, comments and all that, but let me just sit back and shut down for a little while and process, I guess. That's kind of how I operate. my modus operandi is always, if I've got an issue, I shut down, I turn all the noise off, get away from everybody, and I think about it until I figure it out. So if you guys do see me go radio silent or something, it just means I've got something going on that I'm trying to figure out, typically. Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, and there's a link here to John's YouTube, and I've got it in the link in the description here too. So I gotta see something here real quick. There we go. Still off. Cool. Really a great move. Setting up actual source would be great to get past by the monitor. Yep. Where we at? Go string a lawsuit. Okay. And that is US Arc Florida's channel. I should have altered my channel. I forgot to put my banner up for regular US Arc. I need to add US Arc Florida to that. But I'm not going to sit here and work on stuff while I'm running live. Let's see. We got... Oh. Don't touch my coffee. Yeah. I don't do any drugs. I rarely drink. But I'll burn through some coffee. And if you touch it, I'll literally bite your fingers off. So. Oh, yeah. Ain't too many things that make me fight anymore, but somebody starts running off with my coffee. I can't run really fast anymore, but I can pick something up and throw it really far. Absolutely. Yeah, for those of you guys that don't know Christina, she's an integral part of our educational programs. She's kind of my conscience in a lot of cases. So if something happens that really makes my blood boil and makes me want to start acting like where I come from, then I'll call Christina and she'll be like, well, yeah, that's screwed up. I agree. You might want to wait a day so that you don't hurt everybody's feelings on the planet. And then I go and think about it for a little while. And maintain my nice, pleasant demeanor with everybody. Green anacondas or mainland reticulated pythons? Two parts to that answer. One, I love my retics. They're my favorite snake in the world. And although they're the longest, boas are still stronger. I think you're going to stand more of a chance trying to get away from a retic than you would a comparably sized green anaconda. The boa strength, which is what anacondas are. Boa strength is stupid. It's just, like I said about this little guy back here, he's not a big snake. God, he's got a grip. He doesn't want to let go of something. He doesn't want to let go. My retics, they do too. It's just, there's just something different about it. And I think you get wrapped up. If you've got a comparably sized retic and green anaconda, I'd rather fight the retic. Because I think you're going to have a harder time getting a boa off of you. Charlie must know we're talking about boas because he buried his head back there. Like, what are you talking about? I'm a sweet boy. Too fast. Yeah, I mean, it's, John was talking about two different I presume you're talking about down Florida FWC. It's the same way everywhere, man. Politics is, it's a slime that's just seeped into every aspect of society, where people can't figure out what's right and wrong anymore because they want to pick a team and stick with it regardless of anything else. You just can't operate like that. You got to operate on reality. The facts do not care about your emotions one bit, or who you like. You can absolutely hate somebody and they can be right, and the honorable thing to do is to say, yeah, I hate that dude, but he's got a point, he's right. Or you can absolutely love somebody and they can be wrong, and the honorable thing to do is to say, hey man, love you like a brother, but that's kind of screwed up, that's kind of off base. It's the way we got to communicate if we ever want to be successful at anything. Otherwise, we're just going to fight each other. Oh, let's see. Yeah, that full footage. I don't even watch all of that stuff all the way through. I mean, that's one thing. It's one thing I've developed in my old age is a really strong sense of empathy, and I just cannot stand to see anything suffer unnecessarily. So, let's see what. Let's see. Yep, Jill says prairie dogs, and they will. They're rodents, and they've got big rodent teeth, and they hurt. Oh yeah, man. I mean, they've got such a finite breeding cycle too. It would be awesome. It would be nothing better to have a whole little family of prairie dogs here. So, like I said, hopefully that's going to happen. They've been in there. We've had that male and female in there together long enough. They should start doing something productive. Let's see. Typical policing. Okay. So, barring any other specific questions about that, I'm going to roll through the rest of these comments. And if I okay. Ooh, okay, I know. So we've got a moment of radio silence. I guess they call it dead air on the radio. So I'm just scrolling down here and making sure that I'm not really missing any questions and stuff like that. And it looks like, yeah, there's the last comment. Woohoo! I caught up. You guys thought you was going to get away from me, but it didn't work. I caught you. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, Christina and I kind of bounce stuff off of each other. There's a few other folks out here, and if we've really got an issue, we know everybody's busy. Most of us have all got careers or jobs or other things that we're doing. We've all got our animals to take care of. It always takes up a lot of time. I've got the channel and the animals and the job, so all that stuff combined all takes up a whole lot of time. But we do have a pretty good circle out here in North Carolina. Really good support out here that I am really appreciative of. And we do have, actually, for anybody that's going to be in the Durham area on December 17th, we've got it's a Show Me Reptile show up there at the Durham Armory. It's not a terribly big show, but we go there, and we did our first one last month or the month before, a couple months ago maybe. I think it might have been in August, September, something. It was this year. But we got a booth out there and just set up an educational display where we're not selling anything. All we do is talk about husbandry and animals and enclosures and enclosure sizes and stuff like that. Kind of there to support the vendors. Maybe so they spend a little bit less time, really talking with folks and answering questions, and a little bit more time doing what they're there to do. And it went over really well. Before the event was actually over, the event promoter came up and was like, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and write you guys in on the next one. We want you back, and just let us know if anything changes. So we're in on that one already. So we'll start getting all the details. I'm sure after this first holiday, after Thanksgiving, it's over, we'll start working all that stuff up. I'll have the video. I'm going to be working on it over the weekend for the museum event. And that was another one halfway through before the event was over with. I was like, you guys got to come back. And I tell you what, man, that's one of the most rewarding things of setting these things up. And so far, every different organization that I've worked with, that I've approached, or has approached me about doing one of these events, they're always really hesitant because they don't really know what to expect. It's not all that often you get 5, 6, 7 people willing to bring 20 different species of animals that are exotic and rare and things like that, just out for people to see. So nobody really knows what to expect. But every single time, halfway through, everybody's like, "This is really cool. We got to do this again." So that's really rewarding, and I know we're gonna have a lot more stuff on the books come next year. We've got a science center out here in Greensboro, which is probably the biggest venue. The only problem that we have setting things up with them is they have to maintain a lot of biosecurity because they've actually got a zoo there. So they really can't have a bunch of people bringing animals into their establishment. Because, although, we know our animals are healthy, we check them, we make sure amongst ourselves everything's good. From their perspective, it's a biological security thing that they got to maintain. But I think this one may be an outdoor event in the spring. So I'll be talking with them to see if we can get in that, which would be really cool. We get a whole lot of exposure to folks through that. And then they've got the museum out there. It's got this really cool, and I'll put it up in the video when I put it out, this really cool dinosaur display out there. So that's where I want to do the next one, is out there where we can just let the snakes crawl around on the dinosaurs. It'll be really good photo ops for them. So there's always going to be a steady stream of some kind of educational event down here. So definitely get subscribed to the channel, hit the alerts and things like that, so you guys can catch all of that stuff. And one of the things that I want to go into a lot more detail on in this video about the museum too is, again, kind of like what we talked about last week, things we look at when we're setting it up, and things we need to take into consideration, make sure that we're keeping the people safe, make sure we're keeping the animals safe and all that other stuff. Looking through these things to make sure I don't miss too much. Yeah, leopard geckos are funny. We've got a few of them here. I was just looking at one of them the other day. I again can't wait to get a bigger space because I want to get a bigger area where I could do all my filming in and bring more enclosures into this area, around the camera and all that stuff, which would be cool. Oh, where we at? Yeah, Charlie's a pretty spoiled boy. And actually, the way this is all set up, I've got live pet rats here too. No intention of ever using them for feeders or pets. But like when you walk in my door, on one side of the living room is the cabinet enclosure for Charlie here. On the other side of the room is the enclosure for the rat. So that when I take him out of his enclosure and I bring him back here to the office, we've got to walk right past the rat cage. Probably not the best setup for any other snake, but Charlie has done a really good job of. He pokes his head up a little bit. He'll take notice, but he just ignores it. He's another one of these animals where him and Apollo, my 13-foot Burmese, both of those animals, sometimes when I go to feed them, they'll take their nose and push the food out of the way and start crawling up towards my shoulder. Just because they're like, oh, I don't want to eat. I want to come hang out. And this guy's one of them. Hey, Jessica, you stalker. Hey, how's that iguana doing? Is that a friendly one, or do you got your hands full over there with that one? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Science Center will be a really good one. I've talked with them. I've been out there a couple times. I was out there earlier this year. Only problem is that at the time that I walked out, the only real event that they had coming up was Shark Week. And I couldn't figure out a way to tie the snakes into the sharks. So yeah. The next big thing that they've got is like a big science fair. I don't remember what it's called. Science Festival or something like that in April. So that's the one that I'm going to start. As soon as the holidays are over with, I'm going to start working on getting into that so we can get out and collaborate with them. Yeah. Where's his face at? I can't tell. He's just a big ball of lazy right now. Where's your head, Charlie? There you are. See, he's got my 6. He's making sure nobody sneaks up on me. He's such a good boy. Yeah, that's Christina's boyfriend too. So Christina and Jessica are going to be having a cat fight pretty soon. Man, that would be absolutely awesome, Greg. We would love to have you out here. And as these events become more predictable, I definitely will be, extending some invitations to some bigger name people as well. Because I believe in maximizing the impact and the effort. The first few of these that we did, not a lot of people knew us, and everybody's kind of learning what we do. The size of the events is negligible. You might get 100 or less, maybe a little bit more than that people come through. So something like that, I wouldn't want to ask somebody to, have to fly out and get hotels and things like that. But if we're talking about something like the Science Center out here, or another big event with the museum, because I think we probably had 700 people through there, give or take 100, but we had a really good turnout. And so, yeah, I would really like to, anybody that is interested in participating in these, just needs to keep up with my Facebook page. My Facebook, I'll post stuff on Facebook and Instagram before we have these events. And we've also got a group chat so that anybody that is regularly participating in these, all we got to do is jump in there and say, okay, guys, I've got one coming up in December. Who can come out? And it's cool because we've got enough people with big enough collections that, just like this last one, Aubrey Pruitt is really big into doing the educational stuff with us, but he just happened to be on a family vacation while all of the stuff was going on at the museum. So Cody from Intrepid Exotics is a good friend of his, had actually grabbed one of Aubrey's animals, brought out, and we can all kind of bounce off and support each other, setting these things up. So it's such an awesome setup. It's something that I could not do by myself. I could not do the quality of presentation by myself that we accomplished with all of the folks like Jim and Christina and Jessica and Chris Salisbury and Aubrey and Cody, and his wife came out with us. We've got such an awesome group of people. So yeah, as these events get bigger, I will definitely let everybody that wants to participate know. And I'd kind of like to start doing one of the things that we're talking about. I know I mentioned this in the last one too. The Retic Fest that Garrett puts on up in PA. He started doing those when he got the bigger facility out there. And granted, I'm not a breeder here, so I really lean on the community. I'm trying to get the YouTube channel built up, get the ad revenue coming off of that, get the Patreon built up and all that, and some other things that we're working on. It looks like possibly in the springtime, we'll be in a bigger place. And the place that we set up, I want to have access to do public events at. So it'll be another one of those things where I'd like to do a type of Retic Fest out here, maybe one weekend in the summer. Have an area of the property where everybody can park, an area where you can set up tents if you want to, have a big bonfire out there, and just do reptile community stuff. So we'll see how all that stuff plays out as we go. But yeah, I think it'll be a really good time, a really good opportunity to get together with some like-minded folks. So, but it just does take a little bit more community support on this end of it, since I don't do any breeding, and I have no intention of starting any breeding anytime soon. The only kind of breeding I'm thinking I may end up doing is conservation breeding. If I get myself in a situation where if there's endangered species and stuff like that, maybe getting permitted to start doing breed and release programs or something like that. Right. There's enough snake breeders out there that are putting enough animals out, and I really don't want to add to that at this point. And I don't even, I support them. I love my snake breeder friends, but I don't think I've actually, with maybe one exception, I don't think I've ever bought a snake from a breeder. I've always taken them in from people that couldn't take care of them anymore or had to move or for whatever reason. So, and yeah, we can always use all the help we can get. I mean, I have every expectation that as things progress, these educational events could get national attention. This, like I said, man, all of this stuff, it can go just as far as the community wants to take it, man. If you think, I actually injected myself into the community 2 years ago when I started the YouTube channel, and just about everything we've built and all the connections, all the friends I've made, everything has started from that point. 2 years isn't a really long time starting from scratch, and already having the name recognition that we do out here locally, where we've got museums calling us to do shows and stuff. So there's so much potential, and we've got enough really awesome people out here in North Carolina that we could really do some pretty outstanding stuff. Uh-oh. You gotta watch this guy too, Jordan out of Heartland Reptiles. He's starting some breeding with his dwarfs. That's really, he's putting out some good stuff. Talking about your iguana crawling up and whipping you. Man, I'll tell you what, I'll have to find the picture one of these days of the last time Niles really seriously whipped me. I had him in a new area of the yard in the carport that he wasn't familiar with. And I reached down to pick him up off the ground, man, and he laid into me with his tail. And there was a welt for a week on my side this long. He just drilled me. Oh, man. Let's see. I did have one. Talking about that iguana. It is really funny talking about lizards. Every now and then when I go into Niles, my 6-foot Nile monitor and growing still. We've got an interesting relationship. Sometimes he really likes me, and sometimes he really just wants to punch me. Now he's getting to the point now where I'll go down there and he'll crawl out of the tub and come out to the door and stuff like that. But every now and then, and it's so funny to watch him. I need to catch it on camera one day where I'll go. I've got the stump next to his tub, so I'll open up, step into his enclosure, go sit on a stump. And if he really doesn't want to be messed with, he doesn't do the vicious tail whips that he's done in the past. He just puffs his throat out at me, puts his head down, and just ever so slowly kind of comes around and taps me on the shoulder with his tail, letting me know, okay, leave me alone. And then most of the time I concede and I go away. So, rescue closer to them in South Carolina, and I was set up to hold him. Oh, okay, cool. Good deal. Yeah, if you guys, this is Jessica responding to that question that I'd asked about the if the iguana was okay. I've got pretty finite space here, but if you guys find anything down there that people are having a hard time handling or something, or you absolutely can't find a place for it, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to come down and help you guys. You know, even if it's just driving down for the sake of handling and getting it contained or something. So just let me know. I'm always open for stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff to see out here. You know, Greg, one thing that that I noticed in this last show that we was doing too, you know, typically it's going to be either myself, Aubrey, or Cody bringing the larger snakes. And this last show, I had a 16-foot retic, a 13-foot berm, and my sleepy boa behind me. Come on, smile, say hi. Is your head still back there? He does not want to look at you guys tonight. It's really rude. But anyway, Ruth was out there. She is a very small, petite person who did really well slinging the 16-foot snake around. She paid for it too with some pulled muscles and stuff. One thing with these shows that I want to be able to do at some point is to be able to walk around and film and interview people and do promotional spots for the folks that are participating. You know, I want to be able to go over to Chris and, you know, spotlight one of his enclosures, let him talk about what he does. Same thing with Cody, let him talk about the animals that he's breeding, and Aubrey, you know, let Christina address a couple of educational things that she's working on. And then, you know, talking with the event promoters, just letting them kind of express what their thoughts and opinions of what we're doing are. So I'd like to kind of be running around doing that stuff and filming, but I can't, because especially when we've got 700 people coming through there, and we've got to have eyes on these animals and have them out so that people can see them all day long. So yeah, all the help we can get down there is definitely appreciated. And especially having somebody with a lot of big snake experience, even if you don't have experience in an educational type environment with that many kids and stuff like that, we can always help with that. And the animals that we take down there do really well with the kids. So that goes a really long ways. And of course, the more you guys can push all these videos out and help build the channel up, it's really cool, man. We're coming up on 10,000 subscribers. 2006, 2,600 away or something like that. That's kind of like my next pat myself on the back benchmark that we're working to get into. And I've just got to, I don't know, I've got to find a better way to market this and get all this stuff out there, because it's pretty evident. And I've said this from day one, ever since I started the channel. You know, I can put out the educational content and share experience and stuff like that, and it spearhead this stuff, and it'll be just as big as the community wants it to be. Like I said, this is my end game for my life. I've already done all my hoorah stuff, jumping out of airplanes, blowing shit up, and et cetera, other stories I won't get into. So snakes is my thing now. So anything that comes of this is all going to get put back into the reptile community and the work that we do. I'm going to be planning my next house around that whole idea and concept and stuff like that. So it's really cool to start to see some of that stuff start to come to fruition with, you know, like I said, getting these really cool educational events set up and stuff like that. It's just going to get bigger. We're going to get more stuff done and maybe be able to take this stuff on the road one of these days too. Oh, cool. Yeah, MBKs are awesome. They're gorgeous. As soon as I get, and that's another thing too, when I get more space, a lot of these species that are just, I find absolutely amazing, I can start like having room for and having time to take care of. So, yeah, you know, it's kind of funny though. I mean, typically ad revenue for YouTube stuff, especially when you're just getting started in your smaller channel, it's not really all that great. But I mean, there was somebody out in the hospital out here in Winston that he was a doctor, and he would just put out like one medical topic a week and was bringing in like 10 grand a month off of it. So I mean, if I can get this channel to the point where it's bringing in 10 grand a month, we're gonna have a new reptile zoo out here in Central North Carolina that people can come see. I can do a lot with it. I don't have to hire so many contractors. I used to be a construction project manager. I know how to build stuff. As an Army combat engineer, I know how to do all kinds of stuff, operate my own equipment. So I don't need as many resources as some other folks may need to make a lot of cool stuff happen. It's getting there, slowly but surely. I mean, right now, it's a few $100 a month between the Patreon and the ad revenue. It's gonna run between, I want to say right now it's between two and $450, about $200 to $450 a month. Kind of depends on, you know, what happens that month, how many videos get, how many views and stuff. So I mean, right now that pays for feeders and covers the $150 a month that I use in subscriptions for my editing software and StreamYard and all that other stuff. Yeah, everything now is a subscription, so it doesn't take very long for, you know, to rack up $200 a month just in subscriptions to put this stuff out there. So right now it's just kind of paying for itself and still trying to earmark some money for upgraded recording equipment, stuff like that. But it'll get there as things get bigger. The big turning point for this is going to be when I finally find an opportunity to break out of the day job and focus on this full time, because that's the thing that keeps me so tied down so much anymore, is working that full-time job and then taking care of the animals and then trying to come up with content in between. Makes it kind of tough. So, and we're working on some strategies for that too. But anyway. Yeah, we would love to have you out here, man. You could set up set up a presentation for your enclosures and all that stuff. Maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea too, as we're talking about these reptile shows. Maybe doing some of our educational events at the same facilities as some of these larger reptile expos. Maybe as word starts to spread, we can start doing those too, which would be really cool. Sorry, I know it seems like I'm kind of distracted. I'm just trying to read and talk at the same time. Trying not to miss too many of these comments. Yeah, thing is heavy, isn't it? Like I said, man, you could knock out a bull with this thing. So, let's see. Jacob said something. Where we at? We're at. Oh yeah, talking about that. Let's see. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think Retake Fest will be a regular pilgrimage for me. It's only like 7 hours away, so. Let's see. A lot of this stuff is. Let's see. Yeah, this is what Jessica and I was talking about earlier. She said she doesn't know much about green iguanas, except Clint says that they're not the greatest pets. And it's funny because you see so many of them that are just really interactive and easy to work with and so forth. A couple years ago when I did a downsizing, I had a juvenile green iguana, and that was one of the ones that I rehomed because I knew I only wanted one challenge at a time. And that one was definitely going to be a challenge. So my challenge was my Nile monitor. But he's the one that stayed with me. I rehomed the iguana, rehomed the tokay geckos, which I kind of regret, and the mangrove monitor, so that I could keep myself to just one monitor lizard to work with, so I kept the toughest one. And so far, it's been well worth it. Awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, 1,000 people a day, man. It's definitely, you'll definitely be wore out at the end of that day. Absolutely. It would be cool to see more people. I mean, I am seeing more. And I think it's just going to continue to grow. I think we're going to see more and more. That's my hope, as I put this stuff out and as more people see it and get motivated to start doing this stuff locally, then it's going to be a really cool thing to see grow. I ever considered doing a side channel? I have. This is my problem with a side channel. And I'm going to try and find the most neutral way to say this. Some of you may have noticed over the course of the last couple of years, it can be difficult for me to keep my mouth shut on every topic. I try my best because this is about reptiles. It's about reptile education. And society is so polarized on so many different topics that it is so easy to completely ruin a relationship simply by having a different perspective, or simply by pointing out misinformation or putting out something that's true for the sake, just because it's true. So I've got a very strong relationship with reality that about 30% of the population of this country doesn't share. And I think if I dropped it off and if I started doing another YouTube channel, it'd have to be anonymous, because I naturally will call out BS and hurt feelings. And, I've had this discussion with some people. I mean, people have got strong opinions about some stuff. And, the fact of it is that the facts don't care about your feelings. If you feel strongly about something and it's based on misinformation, you're wrong. I don't agree to disagree. There's no agreeing to disagree. That's a cowardly way to avoid acknowledging reality. So, if I make a claim about something, or I make a statement, somebody comes to me and says, "You're wrong. This is why." Then I'm going to look at that, and if that evidence stands up and it proves that I'm wrong, I have got no problem whatsoever saying, "Thank you. I'm smarter today because of you. How there was something I was saying that was wrong. You fixed me. I appreciate it." You do not see that very often at all. And if I'm not wrong about something and I've got evidence to prove that I'm not wrong about it, I will defend that to the death. So anyway, I think if I was to do another channel where I really started talking about stuff like that, I think it would impact the amount of good work I could do with the reptiles. So, and there are a couple people out there that that put out a lot of fact-based, common sense stuff that's based in reality. That's not conspiracy theory crap. That I could recommend, but there again, people are just so polarized anymore that what ends up happening, one reality is that if you don't come to your beliefs through evidence, then there's no evidence that anybody can provide that's going to change those beliefs. That's just the way a lot of people's brains work. And it's frustrating. That's why it ends in so much hate and so much division, is because it can be frustrating to try and break through that. We see it with the reptiles and things like that. I try, and every now and then, if there's an experience or something like that from my life that I think I can bring in and talk about that maybe helps put things in perspective, I'll try and do that, because I have done. This is the thing. When I start telling stories, it always sounds like bragging, but it's not. It's just the life that I've led. I've done more than most people. I've been fortunate in that regard. Part of it has been luck. Part of it has been I've just always chased anything that frightened me. Anything that I would be afraid of, I'd be like, okay, that sounds like fun. Let's do it. And that just snowballed into, things like finding myself in the middle of the desert, disarming bombs and shit. So there's a lot of good stories there, but anymore, the only purpose that it really serves is just in my perspective on things. Empathy being a big part of that, and understanding that, if you disagree with somebody in person, you either are both intelligent enough to talk about it and come to some kind of a consensus, because we both live in the same reality, or if you fight and get angry, there's only one place that ends. At a graveyard or a prison cell. I've seen it too many times. So that's, I don't know, that goes into a whole lot that we can maybe talk about another time. I could sit here and just pontificate about that crap all night long. Where are you going? Forget it. I guess he's okay. Let's see. You go up here. Oh! Hurry up. Let's see if I can put this through. Aha. Thank you so much. We definitely appreciate that. She says, nope, don't hold your tongue. Sorry, not sorry. People need to hear the truth and don't hold back. We need more people who are brutally honest and screw people's feelings. You don't know how well I relate to that statement. I really do. And on a lot of levels, I definitely agree with that. That being said, like I said, I've seen it go to its inevitable conclusion entirely too many times. And I try my best to really express things. I've spent years and years, at this point, decades, practicing how to have disagreements and discuss things with people on a strictly factual basis. And it is really difficult to do because I'm a fighter. And when I'm faced with a fight, I'm not really one to back down. And I can be incredibly vicious. And it's taken me a very long time to tone that down and learn to be, I hate to use the term politically correct. I think it's really respectful of a person above anything. I try to look at it like you can hate the cancer without hating the cancer patient. You can hate the idea, you decimate the idea, you bring facts to the table, use reason, rationale, and evidence to support everything, and just try your best to be respectful of the person. But the problem is that ideas are embedded in people's identity, and once somebody latches on to an idea that they completely identify with like that, no amount of reason, rationale, or evidence is going to change their mind. It's not going to change their perspective. It's not going to change how they think. So it's it's a whole big philosophical rabbit hole that we could go down. And like I said, maybe at some point, I do have a couple videos where I've kind of started to touch on a couple things, and I've had mostly positive responses to it. Every now and then. Yeah, and it's been a thought. Like I said, I try my best to respect people despite what they believe. Like I've had friends and coworkers and things like that who are ideologically completely on the other side of the fence with me. And for instance, really good example of that. A few years back, I worked for a drilling company, underground directional drilling, and I was a locator and equipment operator. An awesome company. He owned the drilling company. He owned an electric company. We had contracts to drill on military installations for the Veterans Administration out here, solar fields, all kinds of stuff. He was always out of town. And this particular guy, highly, highly religious. And me, I'm highly, highly not religious. And in many instances, those two different outlooks can be like oil and water. But the way things ended up working out with him is he just happened to be one of the business owners where if it's raining outside and, you know, everybody's out there in the mud shoveling stuff, he's out there in the rain, in the mud, right along with us. And I absolutely respected the way he led through his actions. I mean, the owner of the company would be out there with the lowest laborer swinging a shovel. And it was really impressive. And, you know, we'd have 2, 3, 4, 5 hour, 6 hour drives to jobs sometime. And every now and then him and I would drive together and we would have a boa that is in my mount. It needs to come back out. Come on, goofball. Where in the hell are you? Oh my God. Come on, buddy. Come on. I have got a mount for a HOTUS system under my desk that I wasn't paying attention and somebody decided to crawl into. Okay. So, but anyway, so this guy would get out there and work with us. And on some of these drives, we would have these really intense discussions. Very quiet, very polite. We never, you know, it was never a raise your voice type argument, but he would state his position on something and why he thought that way. And I would state my position on something and why I thought that way. And if you can sit down with somebody and actually articulate your reasons for believing something, actually, you know, articulate your reasons for taking a position, and they're backed with evidence and it makes sense, then you can have a rational discussion about it. And even though him and I had such polar opposite views, oftentimes both of us would end up nodding at the stuff the other person was saying. You know, okay, yeah, I've never looked at it that way. Yeah, okay, well, that makes me understand your position a little bit better. And it's a skill, it's an ability that most of society is lost completely. I mean, we're going to have different viewpoints on things, but I mean, you've got to be able to communicate with it. The funny thing is, the worst place you see it, of course, is in politics. And I've got such a diverse group of people that I know. I've got people I know that are on the far right. I got people I know that are on the far left. I got people all through this whole spectrum right here. And the craziest thing about it is if you take away the media sensationalism, all of those people typically agree across the board on just about everything from a moral perspective. There may be a couple little differences here where they're like, okay, well, this subject, I think this way. Okay, well, I think this way. And even those people can talk amongst each other just like me and my old boss did and see the different points, see the different common ground and stuff like that. But, you know, media and some of our political figures, the only way they stay in power is by keeping us divided and by keeping the most easily manipulated citizens hating the other side. And then the other side sees these people who are so far off the damn deep end, and you're looking at them going, this person's friggin' certifiably insane, saying the dumbest shit you ever heard. And it just feeds itself. And there's that wedge. And that wedge doesn't need to be there. You need to turn off a lot of the noise coming from the people above us, our graders, who are just trying to get power, trying to get votes, and they don't care who they hurt in order to get that because it's those power coupons. Anyway, story boy. Yeah, and I'm sure John sees right along the same lines there. John's a pretty John's a pretty analytical fella. Matter of fact, John's got a lot more attention to detail in a lot of things than I do. I'm more conceptual and he's more detail oriented. Yeah. Yeah, I will at some point. I think he is, man. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, the truth is a hard thing to get people to swallow because, like I said, people get so wrapped around their own ideologies that no amount of evidence or facts will pull them out of it. Yeah. I really think that probably the next 2 or 3 years is going to show this country a lot about itself. And I'm in the U.S. I know it's not everybody's going to be watching from here, but you know, we've got this disillusion in this country that we're the best. The only thing that we're the best at is military spending. We are hands down the baddest ass on the planet. Other than that, we're dropping the ball on just about everything else. So that is going to come back and bite us in the ass at some point. I mean, essentially right now, we've got some pretty evil people trying to get complete control of the most destructive military force that's ever existed on the planet. And they're trying to do so politically. And it has a potential to be pretty bad. Let's see. And I know I've been sitting here bumping my gums forever and I've missed a whole lot of conversation. Hey, I see you. Yep, absolutely. I mean, you know, that's we talk about this. You know, everybody says you're not supposed to talk religion or politics. Well, there's a reason. Here's my first little caveat. You guys can see how many people that will hate me. The reason why people don't want to talk religion or politics is because if you talk about them long enough and you go deep enough, you're going to find that they're both bullshit and you're being manipulated by both of them. That's where that discussion goes. There's no other origin for both of those. So if you talk about both of them long enough, you'll eventually start scraping on the truth, and the truth doesn't make either one of them look very good. Let's put it that way. So that's as far as I'm going on that tonight. Yeah. Trying to keep an eye on him. I think he's ready to go home now. All right. Hope I didn't miss you saying goodbye there, Christina. Good to see you. California to Texas transplant. Yep. Oh, I can certainly relate. I mean, I'm in central North Carolina. I moved here from Phoenix. And I have got a lot of traits that aren't very predominant in this area. So, and you combine that with working with reptiles, and especially if you can imagine how socially ostracizing it was at the one point where not only was I working with reptiles, it scared the hell out of people. I was working for the medical examiner's office, transporting bodies from crime and accident scenes. So, somebody would be like, "Oh, what's your hobbies? What do you like to do?" "I got snakes. I raise big snakes." "Oh, you're weird." "Well, hell, what do you do for a living?" Pull dead people out of the woods and cars and lakes. And dude, you are way too weird for me to go away. We just hit those two things right there, and that was it. But yeah, I don't do that anymore. I got really tired of being on call 24/7. Oh, good night. Hey, thank you again. We really appreciate it. And we will definitely be talking again sometime. Hope you guys have a good night, or hope you have a good night. Yes and no. It's talking about too much money involved and nothing ever gets fixed. See, this is the thing about a democracy is that a democracy only functions with a well-educated electorate that participates. We've got 320 million people in this country, and if we get everybody on the same page of music, or at least reading from the same book, and not hating each other because it's politically expedient for somebody else, the Constitution is set up in a way that we can impact and we can kind of put some guardrails on things. If you're ever listening to a politician telling you who to fight or who to hate, who's evil, whose ideology you should hate, then, they're just trying to take those guardrails off. That's all they're doing. The less American citizens can work together and work with each other, the easier it is for us to be a cash cow for people that just want to have their hand in our pockets. So. Yeah, maybe one of these days we need to do that, man. We'll get together and just start ripping apart everything that we can. I've got some friends too that have been debating different topics for decades that might be interested in coming on too. I hate to do that because we would hurt a bunch of feelings doing that, and that's not what I'm here for. Hey, how's it going, man? It's been a while. Down there. Ha. Yeah. Jeremy came back to every animal in the house taking a dump. I can so relate to that. Yep. Every Saturday, man, I'm going to do my level best to be live every Saturday so we can all kind of hang out and chat and come up with ideas and ask questions and all that other stuff. Because, sometimes the schedule just doesn't permit me to get the videos out that I want to that week. But I can always set aside an hour or two on a Saturday night to sit down and talk. So. And speaking of which, we're coming up on 2 hours. And it's probably about time for me to call it a night. And I know Charlie's ready to go to sleep. But, okay. Trying to think of any last minute stuff. I can't. Yeah. He's just chilling. He's ready to go home and go to bed. Yeah, but if you guys haven't yet subscribed to the channel, by all means, please go ahead and do so. Turn the alerts on because we do have a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out on the events, things like that. Also got the Patreon. Those Patreon communities, man, I tell you, we've got 7,000 plus subs on this channel. Even if 500 of those folks decided to jump on just the minimum on Patreon, it would make a huge difference. It would really increase the amount of things that we would be able to do. So yeah, by all means, if you guys want to see, if you like what we're doing here, if you're behind the concept, then we get a whole bunch of people chipping in a little bit. We can do a lot of good. Like I said, as soon as I get to the point where this is self-supporting, then the educational programs and stuff, all of that stuff is taking the forefront, and this is getting all of my time that I would be spending mapping natural gas services. So I'd rather work with the snakes and you guys and do all of this stuff. So absolutely. Yep. And I'm going to be out here next Saturday too. So I don't know what Thanksgiving. Yeah, Thanksgiving's like Thursday or something. So to those of you that I don't speak with before then, happy Thanksgiving. And we can all sit back and talk about how many people ended up starting those discussions over Thanksgiving dinner that resulted in someone getting thrown out a window or something. That would be really cool. Sometimes Thanksgiving's a good thing. Sometimes it is just a fight waiting to happen. So you guys will have to be prepared to share your stories when we come back after the holiday. Appreciate you too, John. One of these days, we're going to get you off work and get you on. All right, Nicole, have a good night. Katie. Absolutely. Yep. Okay, guys. I'm off and running. And we are going to be working on the event video tomorrow. So you guys have an outstanding night. And if I don't see you before then on the update video, then I will see you Saturday. You guys have a good one.